Okay, we are live, Grin.
All
We
right,
are back.
guys, we are back, and this time we're here for chapter 406.
Yep.
But I want to read through a little bit of the comments
Yep.
since I didn't really get to see the comments. Zainin, you said, who do we think is Hisoka's connection with the Succession War? I don't know.
Mhm.
I mean, who do we think? It could be Lazarus. Could be Lazarus.
Could be Yugimoto. Yeah.
I don't think it's Benjamin or
No.
Zhang Li or Serenich or any of the top
I doubt
five,
it's Camila.
in
I
all
doubt
honesty.
it's Tsubeppa.
But it could be Lazarus, or maybe it's not even any of the princes. Honestly, it could be one of the Justice Bureau members. Who knows?
It could also be maybe someone from the mafia, probably like specifically Kenny Wang or Char.
Yeah.
Because
Hey.
we do I'll talk about it later because it's tied to 406 and Grant could see on my screen I have 4 tabs pulled up for 4 different chapters that are all integral to talking about this chapter.
Yep. Then the next question you asked is it possible Crollo saving the number 9 slot for a new member or someone he is looking for? No. He's not going to do that. I don't think so. And the reason I say that is because I believe that the number 9 slot was very like similar to how Pakunoda's irreplaceable and the others who got murked are irreplaceable for him. I don't think he's gonna replace anybody.
Yeah, it's meant to highlight. I already explained it in that comment to the guy, but it's meant to highlight how Crollo's the hypocrisy of Crollo's ideology and how paradoxical it is about how no matter what, the troop needs to always move on and always replacing troop members, because that's like a rule where if troop members are gone, you replace them in order for the spider to be continuous. But he can't do that because Pakunoda was that special to him.
Yeah. And then for your third question, who the Joker is, Kenny Wang was it? No, it wasn't Kenny Wang. Was it Kenny Wang?
It was Kenny Wang who talked about it in 405.
It was Kenny Wang. Yeah, I don't think it's Hisoka. Because in all honesty, I also don't think Hisoka would give a shit about Morena and Morena's goal or any of them. Like, I don't see him wanting to align with them. Because, like he said, he doesn't care about anything here.
Yeah.
He's just doing everything for himself. So, I don't think Hisoka's the Joker.
Yeah.
But I think the Joker is someone we haven't met yet. So, there's a very real possibility it could be a new character that is relevant to the story that we just haven't come across. Trying to see if there's anything else. Okay. Gabby said Borkson is gonna kill Zhang Li. I don't see that. No. That'd be wasteful writing, and also it probably won't happen because Zhang Li right now, yes, he's on the lower tier floors, but he's also alongside the Jiu family. That means he's got Hendrik and a few other people on his side. And if Borkson kills off Zhang Li, that would actually be very wasteful of Togashi for setting up a character that has potential relevance to multiple different characters, other princes and stuff.
He's not dying anytime soon, as long as Kurapika holds a coin. He's way too important. Because if he dies, then I assume his spirit beast goes with him, including the coins. Because he sustains the spirit beast.
Yeah, it would be wasteful writing. Yeah. I think. Oh, and Elio said Lazarus is going to shine in the next patch. Oh yeah, because right now he's fraud. He's a fraud. Yeah. And also, they've already set it up because Kaiser and
Melody
are going to do their they're going to do their plan. So If Lazarus just did nothing, then he'll die like a fraud.
Yep.
So it is what it is. So he has to do something.
Are those all the comments, or is there more you want to talk about?
There's some. I mean, there's some few other things I want to talk about in the sense that in what we're gonna get in the next couple of chapters, right? I want to bring up the relevance of, and I hope someone in the comments can do this. I want to see if we can bring out some historical relevance and see if we can tie any additional historical recognition to the reveals that we're going to get in this chapter.
Yeah.
Because that might actually give us active insight into what's going to happen in the future, given the information we're going to get in this chapter.
Yeah. When we got this batch, when we got this chapter specifically, Grin and I, we were on a VC late in the morning, and then we suddenly got this chapter, and we lost our damn minds. This is Grin's number 1 chapter. This is my number 2 chapter.
Yeah.
And for this chapter, I brought out the notes with me in my hands. Grin can't see me, but I have volumes 37 and volume 15 for Grin on the screen to accommodate him. I have 4 separate tabs opened up for several different chapters, specifically for this chapter alone. And for the editing, I will show the pages that I am talking about to give you guys a visual. But for this chapter, it really emphasizes the greatness of Togashi. This chapter, we're going to be talking about Beyond, and which ties into 401 and his plan. We're going to be talking about stuff from Greed Island. We're going to be talking about Togashi as a writer, period, and how this only enhances Succession War as the greatest arc of all time, the greatest arc for me, and Togashi's greatness as a writer.
This one chapter changed everything for me about Hunter x Hunter. This one chapter changed the entirety of Succession War. It single-handedly changed the entire premise of Succession War.
It's insane. And what this chapter did for the whole series, because this is 20 plus years in the making by Togashi, which is absurd. And this just emphasizes, so when we do talk about this chapter, we're going to be knocking down these old myths, these old beliefs that were created by the fraud New World Review and his fraudulent fan base that all pretty much cater to this philosophy that Togashi can't foreshadow anything, and that he just writes things on a dime, which is completely false. Because you can't write a story of this level of detail by the seat of your pants. You can't do that. That's absurd. The story would have crumbled years ago.
Okay. Any beef that Hart starts with New World Reviews is his own.
Yeah.
I don't want to be part of it.
Yeah. But yeah, this also this chapter illuminates Kakin lore, stuff we're going to talk about as well. Basically, this chapter talks about several different things and just enhances so much of the story. And also previous elements like 384 and 395, which we'll talk about. All right, Grin, let's start.
All right. Okay. Chapter 406, Regalia. Jeez. Okay. This is a tight squeeze. We're weaving between the gaps. Oh yeah, Nobunaga, keep your sword for you when I head back. I gave you official IDs, but the military won't turn a blind eye to such an obvious weapon. What? Why am I singled out? Dude, I just made this. I'm not going to... Listen, will you? Yours is the only obvious one. Makeshift the fake anyway. But it's up to you. Tier 2 has a lot of inexperienced soldiers. Essentially, we start off right with them going through the door in the passage, right where we left off last.
This has been foreshadowed since chapter 384. And we also got an answer on what that sword Nobunaga had that people had questions for. Because if you remember when Nobunaga and Henrik pulled up to the Heili base, Nobunaga had a sword confiscated by the lawyer, Yokutani. And people were like, "Yo, where the hell did this man get this weapon from? Didn't he just have it stolen? Did Togashi make a mistake? Did he accidentally forget and draw it?" Now we have our answer. A hatch from here on out, things will be a bit rough. And, bro, Togashi just went next level with the spreads in this chapter. Like, this Batu is just some of the best artwork he's ever presented for us. We're next to the hole of the Black Whale. Keep climbing these stairs and you'll get to the top of Tier 2. This is massive. We get to actually see the interiors, basically the gap between the inside, the interiors, and the outside, the shell of the Black Whale.
This double page spread is god tier. Mm-hmm. The like sketching for this is so detailed. It's actually incredible.
Yeah. And the perspective shot, because they're climbing up the stairs, so they're right over here in the beginning, and then by this panel, they're basically right under this right here.
It gives you insight on how massive the ship actually is. Yeah. Like, this is a massive ass ship. Yep.
Keep climbing these stairs and you'll get to the top of Tier 2. Now, this is where we go, because this was foreshadowed in 384. Now, I'm showing you 384 again. Your hitman, they're talking about Luini here. Your hitman has a translocation ability and can be elusive. But there's one location he will come back to right here. Finks points at the door. What he wants lies beyond that door that you came through. Oh, you came up from above, right? So what the hitman wants is a route upstairs. We also learn that in this chapter, the Haley have their own route. So we know that all the 3 Mafia families have their own specific doors to go up to the higher tiers. Now, this asks the question, because we learn in 395 that the Haley ditched their hideout in Tier 3, and now they're hideouts in between Tier 1s and 2. So, we got to see the Char hideout. So, most likely, later in this chapter, when Henrik decides to round up, Zakuro and the rest of the boys in the GU, they're most likely going to take their very own hideout and then go up to Tier 1 to get revenge on the troop, and then potentially wage war against the Cha'ar because they're sided with the troop. Now, this raises the question, because the Haley Morena's group, they want to eventually get to Tier 1, but now this raises 2 questions. One, they left their group, they left their office, so now they don't have access to that any longer. And 2, they probably don't want it may lead to SETI, and they don't want the danger. And most likely with Hisoka, if he even is affiliated with the Haley, that probably could have been how he got up to Tier 1 through their own stairs. Okay.
All right.
What's up?
I'm telling you, this particular area where they're going up the stairs, it's going to be relevant towards the later end of the story as well.
100%. It's about to be relevant because this is the only way for GU, because it's already been primed. Because in this chapter, we get to Togashi shows us the Cha'ar use their hideout, and he already basically sets up the idea of GU going up to Tier 1. How else can they do that, especially in the midst of martial law? They have to use their own hideout. It's the fastest and easiest way.
The other thing is, and this is just, my own theorizing or whatever, if at some point during this arc, it is revealed that the ship is sinking, or we're taking on water, or there are bombs placed on board, I guarantee you this will probably be one of those places where some sort of battle or some sort of combat or battle will take place in this one particular spot right here.
Maybe, man. Maybe this is a huge ship.
Because you see these structures that are kind of keeping the different levels together, right?
Yeah.
I see, in any good story, you wouldn't introduce such a massive structure if those structures aren't destructible and easily like collapsible. It's clearly like obvious that there is potential for these large like structures to essentially collapse, and as a result have the ship begin to collapse on itself. So if it does end up taking water, this could be one of the areas where the ship is destroyed. The other thing is, this could, like, I think when we were reading it, remember we talked about how if the spiders need to escape, need to leave from the higher floors down to the lower floors and escape.
Yeah.
It's either through here, or maybe take the hot air balloon for the food.
Yeah.
For the resupply unit.
The delivery service that ends in week 2, by the end of this week. Or they take the lifeboats that we saw in Tier 1. That Kacho and Fugetsu tried to use in 383.
Yep. And since technically I think the weird skeletal hand things that prevented Kacho and Fugetsu from escaping only affect them.
We'll talk about that. Yeah. We'll talk about that more later in this chapter, because this chapter is crazy for how it ties so many things together. All right. Takes me back, just like the cesspit back at home. It's dripping with waste products from 200,000 souls on board. Recycling and sewage treatments facilities are between Tier 4 and 5, so Tier 5 is below the sewers. It's meant to, the classism element. Char and GU manage the treatment plants. That's right. Some things are convenient when you're the one handling the trash, but the actual work is left to subcontractors, and running that is left to underlings. They won't report to you every time subtractors change. Now, if you guys remember 405, Kenny Wing is most likely in cahoots with Morena. Now, this is a very plausible explanation that because Kenny Wang is the underboss, or he's a capo, he's essentially in charge of this because this is under the Cha'ar's jurisdiction. This is under their control. So he can easily get the Haley boys in, have them use this, farm their lives and kill people, while he turns a blind eye and pretty much does not report anything. And very likely this could very likely be the case. So Nobunaga may just be onto something. Are you saying that, Haley, now I got a reason to turn back? Replace the waste treatment and personnel, and they're free to kill all they want. Pretend to be the employment agency and lure a whole mass of prey there. Call or interview. Take each one to separate room. Assembly line the rest. Being with you guys makes me think I'm a model citizen. And this is something that the Haley guys talked about in the several of the chapters back about the I think it was the processing plant, basically the place, their de facto grinding area. I'm heading back. I'll ask them stuff if I find them. Good luck. Sure. Got any tips regarding their hideout? Oh yeah, the guy protecting is a counter type, Yoko Tani. Attack him and you'll trigger some invincible nonsense. So be careful. Once activated, Nendals that look like security robots will warp you away. The door between rooms A and B and the floor plan I gave you is warp point to Tier 3. Shouldn't you have told us that first? So we can't attack at all. Let them attack first. Legit self-defense should be okay. So now the squad is dispersed, Ren. Nobunaga is on his own, potentially meeting up with the Haley characters that we saw in Chapter 405, and potentially even Kenny Wang. So we might see a battle. We might see Nobunaga fight very soon. Finks and Phaeton are on their own. So now the danger, the herd is being thinned even further. And now they're even more exposed to danger, because the whole point of them being together was that they didn't want to give Hisoka particularly a ray of hope. they just wanted to jump him 3v1. But now,
yeah, but with them splitting up now, it's like Nobunaga wants to stop whatever plan that Kenny Wang and the rest of them are cooking. Mm-hmm. So he's trying to head back and handle that situation while Finks and Peyton head forward to deal with Haley.
So we're seeing a fight very soon with these three characters, and we might see the story is really starting to slowly shape up to the action phase, the hype moments, the intensity, and we might see some troop members dying. And then now we go to tier 3, the Haley I hideout. We're back in chapter 398 and 399, where Henrig turned the transmitter into the oyster, and now it's turned back because it's been a few hours.
Turning back into the transmitter.
Yep. And then now we go to Henrig and Zakura. It's getting really crowded. They're here to send off Hockenberg, who was popular with the people, whereas Lynch, she had something to do back at the office. The Haley got away last time when the military intervened. Next time we see them, catch them, and have Lynch make them talk. Ask them about their own traps is the most efficient way, Henrik. And then this is where they find out that Lynch Fuboko got killed. And we of course, Bono revealed in 405 that he killed her. Once she found out that who he was.
You base for the next couple pages, you basically see, Zakuro basically talking to Henrik and then piecing things together. It might not actually be Soka. Yeah.
Basically, having understanding of her personality, Henrik came up to the idea that this could have been someone else. Because these guys understand her personality. I remember when this chapter came out, man. People love to slander Togashi. They think of any inconceivable nonsense to do so. So, for this chapter, for this moment, they thought that this was contrived writing or an ass pull, or that it was like a leap of faith by Henrig, that it made no sense that he could logically reach that conclusion. But, like, come on. These two guys know Lynch Fuboko. She's legit an emitter. Grant, if you remember, emitter and the Hisoka personality type, they're impatient and not detail-oriented.
Yeah.
That's legit who the hell she is.
Yeah.
Henrig is a conjurer, so he's
very detail-oriented.
Yeah, very detail-oriented and high-strung. So, of course, him being on edge and learning about that someone he was close to died, his mind's gonna, the gears are gonna be turning. And he knows Lynch well enough to be like, hold on, this makes no sense.
He's an individual who, even before the chapter, we've seen him, like, try to piece information and try to...
Yeah.
Not necessarily interrogate, but, like, investigate and figure out a few things here and there by, doing favors for GU and whatnot against Haley.
Yeah.
So he clearly is an individual that has, mental capability to some extent. Yeah, he's quite smart. He has versatility in terms of thinking and his approach. So, given this additional context and given this information, his brain would naturally try to figure out a conclusion of who was responsible, how things happened, whatnot, given the information they were given. It's a very natural way to think and figure things out. It's not that difficult.
Yep. And this is where they discover that the Lynch that Zakura was speaking to was a fake. They speculate if it was Hisoka, and then they say, but why would he do that? And then they came to the idea. They started thinking of two possibilities: if Hisoka was a manipulator, or that someone wanted him to think something else and have them jump to conclusions because it would be convenient for them. And now they realize that this was the Spider's goal, which would be convenient for them to get up to tier 1 if one of them was disguised as Hisoka. Yep.
Yeah, he even said, tell me everything she said. And then, you see Zakura saying, oh, yeah. And then she clearly said that was definitely Hisoka.
Distinctively. And then a fake Hisoka manipulator to trick me. Who would do something this complicated? This guy is looking for Hisoka and doesn't want us to interfere. And it makes sense for the troops' goal, because these guys are in a race to get to Hisoka, because they know that once these guys find Hisoka and then kill him, then it's open season for the troop, and they're going to go up to Tier 1, storm everything, Requiem 2.0, and then they're going to seal the treasures and then go off on their merry way. But we find out in this chapter that the treasures are one and the same. That they're actually far more integral than we realized. That what Crollo let on. And then,
like I'm reading, he says, Henry's like, if we find Hisoka first, the fake Hisoka, figured we would hide that fact and give permission to their side to search for Hisoka in vain. And that is in fact what happened. But this deduction is based on an assumption. The facts that you two found Hisoka and then someone killed Lynch. If it was the Phantom Truth, we'll have to go to war with Char too. It's not a fight we should start based on speculations, but we'll avenge her death, right? No matter who it was, of course.
Nope. And then we get one of the cleanest panels, the side profile of the goat. And then he's currently in the Hulkenberg funeral procession.
Yeah.
So we're near noon.
Yeah.
And then we get to see him pull out the book ever since 2016. And we get to see this ability. The fans translated this, but I forget her name, but this was the phone ability, Love Dial 6700.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
It lets him track down a specific person, I think so.
Yeah.
Person whose number you have called is not in this area. Please try again in a different location. The number you have called left today is not even in this crowd. It was at the same as I haven't seen it. Do I try somewhere else with this number? Or do I loosen the restrictions a bit? Should I go to Tier 1 where they're in the middle of a succession battle, even if it's riskier? There should be far more people with abilities hiding. Succession battle ritual bestows men abilities, the use of those abilities, and fight until there's a sole survivor. Used in the succession battle in Kakin Zagalia, the three sacred treasures I see.
Bro, the bombshell. First off, Togashi, Crollo somehow knowing all this information about Tier 1. And then this information. And
this we didn't we speculate that the reason he knows this is because
Greed Island.
After the
Greed Island. Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it because this is honestly some of the craziest Togashi writing I've ever seen. And this just highlights the greatness of Togashi. And just how far Togashi planned this subplot and thought this far ahead. It's insane. I've barely seen anything like this. The ritual vase used for the succession battle participants, the seed urn. We've known this.
The seed urn, which we saw at the beginning of Succession War, where all the princes basically, we saw all the princes basically partake from it. So that's one of the three treasures.
Yep. The Divine Mummy, the overseer of the succession battle, the Lotus Anchorite, and well, hold on, we'll talk about
the Sword of Ascension given to the next king.
Yeah, the Sword of Ascension given to the next king, the Sword of Good Omens. Now, Grin, let's talk about this. Over the past few years, Grin, what's up, man?
No, I'm trying to go back and see if I can find the information I saved up with, because we had a lot. I actually wrote some stuff down regarding this. Yeah. So I'm trying to see if I can bring that information.
It's probably all the way up. It's probably somewhere deep in the Discord DMs.
Yeah. Oh man.
But we've speculated this for years. Grin, when you first read and caught up to Hunter back in 2022, you speculated on the hands that we saw in chapter 383. Now we have our answer. The Divine Mummy, overseer of the succession battle. So, all of these items are all linked and chained together. For the Divine Mummy to take its effect, they first have to go through the seed urn. Because this only affects the princes. So now we know what is the cause of those hands. And where they come from and how they're pretty much upheld. And it's through this Divine Mummy. And then later, we have the sword. We don't know what the sword does. We know it could either be a legit sword where it has some sacred Nen property to it. It most likely has a Nen property to it. It's got to. It's most likely tied to the Great Tree of Cocking. It's tied to whatever the 14 coffins are, because the 14 coffins has a lot of Nen inscriptions over there, and man, it's insane. But we finally do have our clarification on what the hell the hands are in chapter 383, because now we understand that they are tied to this. Now the second thing, Grin, we found out in chapter 349 that the seed urn, according to the ancient manuscripts, were created by the first king. In chapter 362, we later get the context that the seed urn was created during the Age of Warlords, and then the first king with the seed urn had his kids fight for unification, and then that's how Kakin became a superpower. Now the question is, if you think about it in terms of the historical context, like Genghis Khan type era, where we are now in history to where Genghis Khan is back then when he was ruling the show, and there was a bunch of wars during the East. That was about 1500 plus years ago. The story currently is in 2001 for Hunter x Hunter. So this could have been well over several thousands of years, or at least close to 1,000. So several hundred years. That's insane. That is some of the craziest Nen feats we have ever seen in the whole series. And we need to learn more about the first king of Kakin. So we know the first king definitively made the seed urn. But then how did the divine mummy and the sword come to be? There's one theory. The divine mummy is quite literally the mummy of the first king. But then it's like, how did the sword come to be? Did a later future king make and conjure this mummy? Or was this basically the mummy of the first king? And did a later king, and the sword create the sword?
Heart.
What's up?
I went back and I think I found it.
Okay.
I think the Lotus Anchorite is potentially inspired by something called a Sokushin Butsu, which is a type of Buddhist mummy. Where let me see if I can pull this up. It's a type of Buddhist mummy. In Japan, term refers to Buddhist monks observing asceticism to the point of death and entering mummification while alive.
Yeah.
And there is a self-mummified 550-year-old corpse of a Buddhist monk called Senga Tenzin in the Himalayan region of India. This mummy is rediscovered in 1975. I think this could be the inspiration for the one thing. What is it called? The Lotus Anchorite.
Yeah.
And the Sword of Good Omens, for whatever reason, it's giving me inspiration similar to the concept of Furba. Do you know what a Furba is?
No. It's one of those. I bet it's like one of those like ritualistic swords that's like there for decoration. It's like not meant to be a literal sword to fight with. It's more as like a symbol.
Yes, a Furba is a three-sided ritual dagger, peg or stake used in Indo-Tibetan Buddhism or Bon traditions. It is a powerful spiritual implement, not a physical one, primarily used in ceremonies to destroy obstacles, dispel negative energies, and purify or consecrate sacred ground. So if I look towards let me see if I can pull it up on the same chapter on Shonen Jump. They have I think they have a different name for the Sword of Good Omens.
I think this is we are looking at the Shonen Jump version. The other translations I forget what they were, but I think it was like man, I'd have to look at it later.
Sorry, I'm pulling this up right now. Yeah, Sword of Good Omens given to Ascension of the King.
Yeah.
So lore-wise, the point of a Furba is um. It, okay, so here's just some information about a Furba. It says is a three-sided blade, which represents overcoming or cutting through the three poisons, which are ignorance, greed, and hatred. The triangular shape is also a symbol of the element of fire. The pommel or handle usually has like a face, um, symbolizing productive qualities and the power to bind and control spirits. The blade often emerges from the mouth of a makara. So, in terms of symbolism, a furba is representative of a blade that is found inside the mouth of a sea monster, a mythical sea creature. And in ritual uses, it is used to banish negative energies, like negative entities or spirits or whatnot. It is driven into the ground to consecrate a space and establish a energetic continuum for ceremonies by basically nailing down any like spirits in a specific area. It's also used as a focal point to meditate and visualize certain things, and also it can offer blessings due to certain rituals.
Yeah,
I think what we're seeing is a lot of Buddhist terminology. I want to see if I can pull up the information on the Sokushin Butsu or mummy, a mummy in Buddhism.
Yeah, but what does... It's insane.
I don't know.
Insane cocking lore.
I'm trying to figure out if essentially the sword is, like you said, it's a sword of accession given to the next king. But I wonder if beyond just ceremonial, the sword actually has like Nen specific capabilities in terms of...
It has to, Grin, because these were created... We know the seed urn was created by the first king during the Age of Warlords, and it's a Nen item. The Divine Mummy is what even enforces the hands that we saw in 383 that prevents Princess from leaving the ship. The sword is most likely, very likely tied to what is the Great Tree of Cocking and the funeral room that Crollo later talks about later in this chapter. That is the focal point of these three tools. And this quite literally powers up Cocking.
Sword is the thing that is able to bind the infinite number of spirits and hands that are around the ship,
or like the soul, or like all the 14 princes, because we know that there are 14 coffins in there. So either Nasubi, because Nasubi states in 382, I cannot die until my role in this contest is fulfilled. So potentially Nasubi, in order to complete the ritual, has to die. And then the successor, the last prince standing, is given the sword, and then he has to complete the ritual by killing Nasubi. And then all of the power that somehow is tethered to the Great Tree of Cocking flows into whoever is the final prince, or whatever happens.
Funnily enough, I think while these chapters are coming out, I think I did write down a small 14 coffins theory, based on the information we got as of chapter 405.
Yeah.
The princes that have died so far are Momose, Sale,
and
Kacho, but her soul is still alive through the ability, and Hockenberg's, whose soul is still alive through the ability. We don't actually know if he's dead or not. But I remember writing this. It says, if there are four, because I forgot which panel it was, but I wrote down, if there are 4 coffins sealed but 4 candles lit, that could mean that only the residual Nen from the body is used to light the candles. If there are 4 coffins sealed but 2 candles lit, that means that the candles only light if both the body and the soul have passed away. And if there are 4 coffins sealed but only 1 candle lit, that means there is a special ceremony that is required to perform the candles, for the candles to light. I remember writing this down in our DM server, actually. Go across. Now, the other thing is, if Crollo is to get these treasures, more than just, immediate boost to Nen. I wonder what that means for him in terms of in terms of his political implication towards the ritual of the princess here. Mm-hmm. If he ends up getting the treasures, what does that mean for him?
But yeah, like we'll talk about that because there's a lot to talk about and the context of the contest. But we find out, Grim, that we learn crazy first king cocking lore and cocking lore in general. That this could be the first king right here. We know this was made by the Cedar was created by the first king during the age of warlords, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, and that later down the line, the Sword of Accession, the Good Omens, was created. And Krollo seeks to steal these three treasures that are Nen powered up items through centuries of stored Nen. That's something insane to even think about. That in the series, that these three tools could be the three strongest items in the whole series, conjured by a human being hundreds and hundreds of years ago. That's absurd to think about.
I remember us talking about how if Krollo gets this man might become top one.
He'll become on the ship. He's achieving godhood at that point. Because if you remember, Grim, the Nen chart back in 2022, Krollo and Hisoka are both ingenious. We are told by Togashi that in order for people to achieve ultimate, they have to do several things. One, they either use a Nen vow like Gon did and forces of the evolution, or they train like mad like Netoro did, who achieved the peak of his talent and ability, or they have luck. Because Hisoka currently, through Nen after death and sheer luck of having even survived, has now evolved to a level far beyond he ever had.
He's at his pinnacle.
Yeah, he's at his pinnacle. He's at his absolute peak and pinnacle. Krollo, who's at genius, if he manages to find who he's looking for with the phone, and then steal these treasures, because he needs to steal these treasures in order to fulfill the condition of his bandit secret ability, to then be able to conjure to get another ability, because that's what he did with the bookmark. Because he only developed that bookmark after his heist in Yorknu, where he stole the stuff from the black market. He's then able to develop his ability to such an extent that he'll have achieved ultimate status. And then we'll see, Krollo at his absolute zenith in terms of power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The royal family must have found out by now through the Mafia that we're on board. They would never believe that we're here to look for Hisoka, and in fact, we are after their treasure too. Whether they keep all three together in one place or disperse the rest is up to Kaki. Therefore, we thoroughly searched for Hisoka and the three treasures at the same time from the bottom up. Since neither the Mafia nor the military changed their moves much, even after I heard about us upstairs, it's significantly less likely they're in tiers 3 to 5. When I found out, this is insane, when I found out that Nen abilities were used in the succession battle and that the three treasures were involved, I knew. The three treasures are the system used to create the powerful Nen needed, not only for the succession battle, but to maintain the prosperity of Kakin itself.
Yep.
Yeah, the fact that he just has this information. And back then, when me and Grin were reading this chapter, we were like, yo, how did he figure this out? Did someone tell him? Does he have some guy on the inside? Togashi gave us the answer years ago.
He gave us the answer years ago.
Yeah.
And it took us a bit to theorize. So after the Eastidus panel in Yorknu, when we get into Greed Island, Krollo meets a specific person.
Yeah. Let me show it. Let me show it. And for the viewers, again, I will show it in the editing. But we go back to 145. Mind you, this is before 2003.
Are you sure you're gonna show it? You better show it in the editing.
I will.
You better show them panels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're on the island. Yeah, this is where they use a boat to actually sell to Greed Island IRL. It's been years since we've had an uninvited guest. It makes me nervous. I just want to make sure you're not castaways, are you? It's impossible to accidentally drift to this island due to the currents. And this is important, Grin, because we later find out that Crollo did sell through here. It's very specific in the wording, but I'll get back to this later. And they meet him. He says, "I'm in charge of the missile systems. I make most spells work." And then we get this Razor card right here. Ruler
they meet Razor.
Number 3. Send everyone who trespasses on Greed Island through wrongful means on somewhere on the Asian continent. AKA, they go to cocking.
Yep. Essentially, what happened is when Crollo pulled up on Razor, Razor sent this man to somewhere on the Asian continent.
Yep. And we know the bulk
alongside the other.
Yeah, we've had it's later. It's somewhere earlier in the arc, but we actually get a panel to see just how much of cocking territory is the Asian continent, and they're pretty much the bulk of it. So sometime after this, a majority of the troop members had already gone somewhere randomly throughout the Asian continent.
On the Asian continent
before, yeah.
Yeah. They might not have all been together, but they definitely got split apart, and they all based on this information, it's safe to say they regrouped somewhere. They regrouped eventually in the Asian continent and met with Crollo. And eventually found their way back.
Yeah. So eventually, like, we know canonically all of these guys, this isn't the first time in cocking. This isn't the first time Crollo went to cocking. Granted, Grin, these guys can't speak to Crollo at this point because of the Nen chain Crollo.
Nen condition.
Because he can't interact with troop members. That's why he could only interact with Hisoka, because he wasn't a troop member at that point. And this is where I clown on 2011, and this is where I praise the fuck out of Togashi, because he knows deep down that 2011 is corny, and then he later gives us these revelations that only makes 2011 work worse through hindsight in the years to come, because for some reason 2011 omitted this. Only the 99 actually gives you the translation of this card. I believe that they do show you this card, but it's like in the after credits of the episode, where it's like Chibi going and Killa talking about the cards. But who's gonna be watching that? Let's be real here. You know, it's corny.
Yeah.
And then you go later.
If I remember correctly, it was because I don't remember. Was it after he got teleported that the Nen condition was broken from him, like the Nen curse from the Nen exorcist?
It was after somewhere after. It was somewhere in between Greed Island, the end of Greed Island, and Chimera Ant. And then you get this random this panel right here where you see where all the troop members were dispersed in the continent.
Yeah.
This was, of course, again, removed from the 2011 for some reason.
Yep. So there's a good chance he got teleported to, like, dead center near Cocking Dynasty, somewhere in the center. I don't know how he managed to survive there on his own, which is a crazy feat enough. Then broke free of his Nen curse.
Yep.
And then eventually we see them go back to what? From after gathering whatever information he needs and getting some sort of clarity on the way systems work, whoever his contact was on the Asian continent inside Kakin, they eventually go back to Heaven's Arena, to where we see his Crollo fight Hisoka. And then after that is when
it's insane.
They join the Black Whale for Hisoka and for the princess.
It's insane, man. Because this is stuff that the 2011 fans, that most people don't even know about, because one, a lot of these guys don't actually read the manga from beginning to end. So this stuff right here that Togashi shows you in Greed Island just goes over these people's heads. Most people do not know about this, that Togashi set up and foreshadowed this. Now, let me go up here. But, again, this is why I love the Succession War so much, man. And why I really believe that Togashi planned this arc this long ago. Because we kept getting so much of cocking being name-dropped. The significance of this place. So, in 149, several chapters later, the troop regroup. You know, so we can assume that they didn't spend that much time in cocking, and they immediately hustled back here. And then they find out that this probably isn't Hisoka. And Shalnar understands that the reason why this isn't Hisoka is because Krollo's nen is still sealed from Kurapika. And he came here without knowing it was Greed Island. And he did so according to the fortunes of Greed Island is due east of York New, his fortune. He ended up here looking for the Exorcist. He came by sea just like we did, and Razor teleported him off. Then he realized this was Greed Island, and then after that, he went over to Hisoka, and like Hisoka started working on getting the Exorcist. But so there's a reason why Crow. Let me go back to this section, Grin, where he asked them the question. It's been years since we had an uninvited guest. Makes me nervous. I just want to make sure you're not castaways, are you? The reason why he asks this is because Krollo was a castaway, not specifically an intruder, because an intruder is someone who consciously does something and actively trespasses on purpose. Whereas Krollo, he didn't know because he just randomly went east. He took a ship, went east, and just followed the fortune blindly with faith. And then he stumbled on Razor, and then Razor used his card, sent him to Kakin, and then that's how Krollo learned about the treasures. And then, so Krollo and Togashi planned this arc. He set up chapter 406 20 plus years ago, all the way back in the early 2000s, before 2003.
And the funny part is, as we were reading Greed Island,
you forget this.
Like, there's no way we could have known any of this until we got to Succession War, until 406.
Yeah, until 2024 when we got those chapters.
The perspective of everything we've read.
Yeah.
Like I said, this one chapter made us go back and go like fine comb through certain like previous arcs to see if there's details of like anything we've missed.
It's insane. So in the context of Krollo's, like in the world of Hunter, Krollo more than a year ago went to Kakin because of Razor, and he randomly somehow heard about the treasures, and then he decided way before his nen curse was even removed that he was like, yo, we need to steal the treasures. This is before his fight with Hisoka. So this was, in the context of the world of Hunter, this was years in the making for him. This is insane. Insane, absurd writing by Togashi. And most people in the anime who only watched in 2011 do not know this. Because the 2011 removes some of these details. It removes this final panel right here. It doesn't even show you the effect of the card unless you're watching the after credits thing with the chibi characters. And this is so far back that no one's going to remember this. It's even took me and Grin a while. Because we only thought about this weeks after the fact that chapter dropped. And it was this giant bombshell revelation of a moment that enhanced this chapter.
We were sitting here after 406 just thinking like, oh my god, what does this treasure mean? How does this,
Yeah, how did Krollo know this?
I was speculating like, why just randomly drop information about a treasure? And initially I was like, okay, there's a lot of Buddhist terminology in Succession War, so maybe it's relevant to that. I'm like, okay, fine, but like, how would Krollo know about it? And then once we thought about that, we were like, wait, how does Krollo know about it? And then we proceeded to go back to certain chapters and try to piece things together. And it took us about like a week or a week and a half to piece this out. And my God.
Like, it's insane how Togashi somehow makes Greed Island even more of a goated impressive arc. Because Greed Island's already, it's a slept on underrated arc. It's impressive tonally. It's phenomenal for what it does with Gon and Killua dynamic and how the payoff for that dynamic in Chimera and how it's essentially like this. It balances out the tonal shift in this transition between Yorkno and Chimera and how Greed Island, even to this day with 406, is enhanced because of it being setting up so many ideas, so many subplots, setting up even more of Kakin's importance, and tying the loose plot threads of Yorkno. It's absurd. And Togashi, and people really look down on Togashi and don't think about him too much when it comes to his ability to foreshadow, when this guy's planning is godlike.
What's impressive to me is that this man, without any nen, somehow managed to survive on Kakin by himself gather information on the treasures, gather information on the different princes, gather information on the fact that the princes actually have men, and then learn about the succession contest. All by himself before the troop met him.
Yep.
Which is just insane to me.
It's absurd. Like, man, the foreshadowing is absurd. Like, how this guy was able to do this. This man Togashi. That Chrollo, this was in the making. This was a plan and a heist in the making for more than a year. Because I believe right now, because in the story right now, it's 2001. At this point in the story, we would have been, I'd say 2000 or 1999. Because I know that eventually somewhere in Greed Island, it becomes the new year. So it becomes 99 or 2000. I know the story of Hunter starts in 98. And then sometime it becomes 99. And I think it becomes 99 from somewhere around Heaven's Arena or something like that. So somewhere in Greed Island, it becomes 2000. And then later, around the beginning of Succession War, it becomes 2001. So we're straight fresh into the new year. Dude, it's absurd. Like, Togashi's planning and writing is just next level. It's not talked about enough. Like, how absurd this guy's planning was 20 plus years back. And these guys really think that this guy rides off the seat of his pants. That he does not plan like this. Do you have anything else to say for that, Grin?
Sorry, I went to... I was AFK. Could you repeat what you said?
That Togashi's planning. That people disrespect Togashi and, like, kind of discredit him when it comes to his ability to foreshadow. Because, people like to talk about how Oda...
No.
Oh, he could foreshadow. But, like, man... Togashi's foreshadowing is crazy. What's up?
Any writer worth their salt knows how to take plot threads that were introduced in previous arcs and tie them together in a neat and interesting manner. And all of this on top of the origin story of the spiders, knowing that the prediction will come true, the drive or the goal that Chrollo has against Hisoka because of what Hisoka did in Heaven's Arena just makes the spiders and Chrollo in particular that much more goated. Because I've said this before, but I'll say it again. Chrollo is a character who's looking towards the future. He's not like Serenich who can literally look towards the future, but he can see the future in the sense he's the type of guy who mentally he's always living in the future. He's always planning forward. He plans for the future. Like in the backstory that we got.
Dude predicted the internet, the digital age.
Yeah. So this is just another example of, Togashi basically giving us context on how Chrollo's the type of person to plan ahead. Years and years ahead before anybody else can catch on to it.
Bro.
And it's not like the thing is, it's not like a Nen ability that he can see the future.
Just natural sauce.
It's just a skill it's a skill anybody can develop, but that he's just inherently both talented and good at it, and has mastered this skill to the point where it is passive. It's just something that he's always like that. And the thing is, that's how most leaders should be. If you're a leader of any organization or any group, you want to always be planning for the future. You want to be a trailblazer, right? The word trailblazer means you carve the path for things to happen in the future. So that's basically what it is. So, Togashi's very good with the way he writes and the way he's managed to pull these different strings for us.
What makes this so impressive, Grin, is that people tend to forget this stuff with this small subplot from Greed Island. Hell, we did. That just shows, like, it's like one of those blink and you miss it things. It's something that you have to figure out on your own. Togashi doesn't handhold you. Because Togashi, if he wanted to, he could have specifically he could have talked about in this chapter about how, oh, I learned about this when I pulled up to Razor and Greed Island, and then he sent me here, and then that's how I knew. It could have been an easy, like, unimpressive way to do it. Granted, he could later explain it in case people, like, really need to have their hands hold. But for the astute, really careful readers who go back, this is impressive. Because, again, blink and you miss it. It's something that's so far back. And it's impressive that Togashi somehow tied that thing together. What's up?
The other thing is, we don't have a full picture of what Chrollo's plan is.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what his, like, he knows he needs the treasures. He knows he needs to be Hisoka. But we also don't understand, like, what is he going to do with the treasures? Just keep it so that he gets stronger and that's it? Like, for as smart a character as Chrollo, there's no way he isn't thinking about, you know, what it means for the, you know, for the Kingdom of Kakin and how that will politically implicate him, right?
Yeah.
There's no way he hasn't considered it.
Yeah, now Grin, this ties into the other element. Does Chrollo know about Riz North and his connections to Kakin? Because not only...
Probably.
Yeah, because this could also be very personal for him. Because he may just want to... This could also be for personal reasons. You know, considering what happened in that flashback. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Which, now that I'm thinking about it, there's a good chance that, depending how things play out, either Morena will, you know, butt heads with the spiders because of her own individual goal to kill Kakin.
She wants to destroy Kakin, yeah.
Or things could work in a very interesting manner where Chrollo and the spiders temporarily work with Morena so that they can fulfill their own goal.
Yeah. And now, Grin, this goes to the second thing with Beyond. Because people, for some reason, people haven't figured it out yet. People don't piece things together. And they're questioning, okay, Beyond is doing this whole thing that was like we learned about in 401, but why is he doing this? Simply for the treasures. He's after, concerning Beyond's ambition, how he's kind of based off, even design-wise, as a conqueror. He wants to get these Nen-powered centuried items. So, not only does he want to control a giant, powerful superpower of a country from the shadows, he also wants these items. And then whatever the hell he wants over in DC. Granted, like, that could also be glory as his own way to surpass Netero.
My God, okay.
Yeah.
So I've been thinking, I just thought of this, right? Which is Chrollo's nemesis in terms of combat, like for obvious reasons, is Hisoka, because Hisoka killed, like, you know, Shalnar Kartopi and, you know, was behind the whole shtick. But another nemesis that's more political, that plans equally far, if not further, is not Zhang Li. It's Beyond.
Yeah.
Because Beyond wants the treasure for himself so that he can do Kakin.
Yeah.
Chrollo needs the treasure so that he can, for whatever reason, you know, use it to steal it to get stronger to beat, you know,
develop
Hisoka,
his ability to beat Hisoka.
Yeah. But also for maybe other political reasons that we have no idea yet.
Yeah.
Both of these characters, both Beyond and Chrollo, are the type of characters to plan forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
Beyond's the type of character who's had, what, a 40-year plan in the making?
30-year plan,
It's a political plan.
Yeah.
30-year plan in the making. It's a political plan, you know.
All of
to
this
try and build,
to get closer and closer to steal these treasures for himself.
So, although those two might not necessarily fight, their ideologies might butt head. Like, their plans might butt head.
Yeah, that's another thing that we're going to talk about, Grin. And that's Public Enemy number 1 Chrollo and Mission Impossible Chrollo. What Chrollo is doing...
Chrollo's my favorite.
Yeah. There must be a focal point at a funeral hall. So this man, Chrollo, somehow understands that, yo, now Togashi gave us even more information that these 3 treasures are tied to the funeral double page spread, the 14 coffins in chapter 371. So it's like, okay,
like let me just give you guys the readers, the chats, right?
Yeah.
Just a little bit of a context of it on what Crollo is going to face at tier 1.
Yeah.
And other factions that are going to converge.
In the midst of martial law. Insane.
Amidst martial law. Nasubi, Benjamin, Camilla, Zhang Li, Hockenberg, Sedenich, Lazarus, Kaiser, Silent Majority, Kurapika, Melody,
Beyond.
Hisoka, Beyond.
Zodiac's most likely.
The Spiders, Zodiac, Char R, GU, Hendrik, Zakuro, the Justice Bureau, and maybe Ging and Pearson. Like, there are so many, like,
bro,
there are so many S tiers characters that are converging at this point. It's actually insane.
The Conqueror's
If this would be a One Piece chapter, if this was a One Piece chapter, this is every top tier character in the entire verse pulling up in one fucking spot.
One spot. And not only that, Crollo has the insanity to basically become Mission Impossible Crollo, public enemy number 1 Crollo. And if he tries to go after these treasures, which it's actually beneficial for Kurapika, because if he steals these treasures, it might cancel out the succession war entirely.
Yeah, which really ruins the plans for some of our more ambitious princes.
Yeah, but
for some of the other princes who don't really care about the succession war, this is actually their safe haven. So our top 5 princes might actually go after his.
Yeah, but the Mafia doesn't want this because they don't want them to steal the treasures because, they're tied to Kakin. Beyond doesn't want this. Nasubi doesn't want this. Like...
wait, hold on. Yeah. Wait, I forgot to mention the Grand Treasurer.
Yeah, Morrissey.
And the Queen.
Yeah.
And
the Queens. Yeah, Grand Chamberlain Morrissey. Like, dude,
bro.
Crollo's up against a stacked squad with their own different goals. And then it's like, okay, now Crollo's on his way to tier 1. What the hell does that mean for his dynamic with Kurapika? Because now we're closer than ever of like, what's going to happen when these two eventually meet?
Yeah.
Because they have not met since Sorknu.
Think about it. Kurapika will definitely try to kill Crollo for sure. But he also can't just abandon his post and his responsibility. So it's going to be moderately very difficult. It's going to be moderately conflicted for Kurapika to figure out what's the best move, considering as his job, he needs to make sure Oito and Wobble are fine and honor his deal with Zhang Li while making sure the other princes like Benjamin and Sedenich and, Camilla and Hockenberg and everybody else aren't necessarily posing a threat to him. He has to keep an eye on Crollo. He has to make sure that the succession war goes well. When Kurapika learns Hisoka's also on board, that's going to add a whole thing. Not to mention what will happen once Kurapika realizes that Sedenich has,
it's insane.
eyes.
Like, and GU, because of what we learned in this chapter.
Like, oh my god.
Yeah, they're on their way to tier 1. Hisoka's there, Bono's there, so already, because we theorized this for years ago, how exactly are the troop members going to finally start leaking into tier 1? And how are things even going to happen? And now we're kind of have an inkling of how Crollo could potentially meet Kurapika, and they could form in this unlikely, very uneasy alliance. That Crollo could become public enemy number 1 for all of these different characters and groups, because him stealing the treasure is an absolute no-go for these guys. Because they're like, nah, they got plans and ambitions of their own.
Him stealing the treasures basically fucks over, 90% of the people on board the ship.
Damn near everyone. Almost everyone who cares about this contest. Whereas Kurapika, he wants to end this and force a stalemate. It's absurd. Man, it's crazy what Togashi's writing. And the more and more troop members go up to tier 1, we're seeing those fortunes. Shizuku's death. Who's not even with Crollo. Bono's on his own, Crollo's on his own, Shizuku's on her own. Holy treasures, literally forming the root of Kakin's prosperity, must be guarded more strictly than the king himself. The greatest price to steal, they would undoubtedly satisfy the conditions required to upgrade skill hunter. That's the power I need to kill Hisoka for good this time, in order to steal such a rare and powerful ability and put it in the book. I have to achieve stealing a national treasure level item before the usual activation conditions. This is how he developed the bookmark. Because, after the heist in Yorknew, he later developed the bookmark once he got his Nen back. It's getting harder to keep control over two conflicting emotions. I mustn't be impatient, but I can't wait forever. Making the attempt carries a greater risk. Going to tier 1 increases. The chances I run into Hisoka before I'm completely ready to fight, but that's not a big problem right now. And look at the aura. Look at this fire aura, man. And then we get
not to mention,
yeah.
Imagine the amount of because the treasures themselves are not just gonna be random objects that he can just immediately steal. Mm-hmm. In order to steal them, he might need to meet the right conditions required to steal them.
Yeah.
If they're as powerful as artifacts that have been in the Kakin dynasty for God knows how long, there's no way he's just gonna be able to pick them up without any consequences.
He can't use the seed urn because the seed urn only works for descendants of Kakin, because they have to be somehow linked to the they have to be a descendant of the deceased first king or the deceased lineage. Krollo's not that. The divine mummy is specifically tethered to the seed urn, which inhibits people from leaving the ship entirely. So all that really is kind of left is the sword, because these two he can't exactly use normally. Granted, just stealing them could be enough for him.
And this is just crazy, and I'm just gonna throw this out there. Yeah. If for whatever reason Krollo has I don't know, the bones of the first king with him.
Yeah, it's absurd.
If he has the bones or some sort of skeletal remnant of the first king with him, then he can take all 3 treasures.
Dude, it's the amount of subplots, the amount of things Togashi is cooking up together, tying things together. 20 plus years subplots and ideas in the making that he was sitting on. And how all these different groups and characters are slowly converging up to tier 1. The ultimate conqueror is the ultimate aura off. And then we get one of the craziest panels that Togashi's ever drawn.
Yeah.
One of the best pieces of art he's drawn in the whole batch. And people really say this man can't draw, and that Togashi should let someone else draw. No, dude. Togashi has a specific vision, emotions, facial expressions, line work that only he can conceive and think of. The next best option is already in place. The spiders will go on, even if I may die. That is what is worthy of all my design of the spiders. And then, we're back here.
We see Hockenberg's.
Yeah.
We see Hockenberg's funeral procession among the crowd.
Yeah, we only see 12 of them. So some of them, and this is very important, because whoever those remaining, the remaining ones, because every prince has 15 in total. So one of them is also in possession of Vict. Those remaining people that are not here could be very beneficial to what Hulkenberg is doing up there against Benjamin. And that's something we'll most likely see in the next batch. The person whose number you have called has been found, but is out of Nen range. Please change your coordinates and try again. The number of calls you have left today is so upstairs as I thought. And now Krollo's up on his way up to tier 1.
To find that person in the book.
Yep, who he's after. That the phone was telling him about. And he needs their help for whatever reason.
Do we know anything about that person? We don't, right?
No.
I don't think we know anything about that person.
No.
But presumably that person will lead him closer to getting the treasures.
Yeah.
Or putting himself in a position where he can figure out or make a few steps in order to figure out how to get these treasures or where they're kept. Maybe that person will put him in touch with the Grand Chamberlain, or know more about where these treasures are kept and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Dude, like,
potentially.
Yeah. And this is one of the
this double big spread is also
godlike. And Togashi actually told us on his Twitter that he drew this. You know, because sometimes he works on the spread, sometimes the assistants work on the spreads. But for this particular spread, he worked on this. And man, this is godlike. Like, dude, we have to talk about this chapter is crazy. It ties in stuff with Beyond. What Beyond's goal, it gives us an idea of what Beyond was really after. Besides just conquering Cocking and then the stuff with DC. And it gives us extra context that he's also potentially after these treasures. This ties stuff to all the way back in Greed Island. The stuff with Past the Door and how all three of the Mafia families have their own versions. And that the GU could potentially be using their own door from their hideout in Tier 3 to go up to Tier 1 and then wreak havoc against the troop and then fight with the Char. And, man, and Togashi's level of foreshadowing and
this one
build
chapter
up
changed everything, man.
Yeah, this one chapter.
One chapter just changed everything.
Like, dude, it's insane, Grin. And now we have to talk about.
It's actually phenomenal on how Togashi was able to tie everything. It's insane, like genuinely insane.
Yeah. Like, and this is why.
What do you want to talk about?
Yeah, this is the next part of the discussion, Grin. What this means in the context of Succession War when it comes to best arc discussions, because in the context of the arc where we're at now, Grin, we're almost past the halfway point. This is one of the greatest chapters in this whole damn arc, which by extension makes it one of the best chapters in all of Hunter, period, because of the damn weight it has, the significance it has, the amount of things being tied together casually by Togashi. And you're telling us, Togashi's giving us, that this is just nothing more than a setup chapter. This isn't even like the part of the arc where we're getting the insane, crazy payoffs like Palace Invasion chapters of Hunter, of Chimera Ant.
Like, I'm
some of the best chapters in the whole series. This, right?
Succession War started off as a political mind game kind of
Game of Thrones, that story, yeah.
With classism and stuff. Mm-hmm. But then over this last batch, we've got obviously we got more expanded lore on classism and situationality. But we've also got more information on
Beyond.
We've got more information on it went from that to there's the whole mafia plot line. So that's like that on its own is like a very like
the thrill element of the
arc. Thrill element, but also there's like usually in mafia stories there's like a element of family and loyalty and what it means to be, a member of the mafia and serving the people and whatnot. So that's there. We've got learning about different types of men and each of the individual princes having their own individual goal. We've got further political agendas between the Justice Bureau and the individual princes and martial law being inflicted, so how that entire thing works. Mm-hmm. And now we've just got introduced to a whole, ancient mythology, artifact kind of thing going on. A heist. Essentially a heist story.
A heist
thrown in the mix.
Bro, we're not even at the revelations of 408 yet with Morena and even crazier Cocking lore. It's insane. We learned about bastard children, Beyond's kids, and how he's been setting his seeds, sowing these seeds ingratiated with the Cocking dynasty, all for this 30-year-long plan. The stuff with Hulkenberg and his mother being the first queen, Benjamin being.
Give me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just continue. I'll be back. Just.
All right.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
It took me a bit, but yeah. I want to know how the arc is gonna change going forward, and that's because transitioning from a more political arc to a more action-packed arc with heists.
We're slowly getting to the action elements because everything's been slowly building up to everyone going to tier 1. And Grin,
yep,
this is what I was going to talk about. When it comes to discussions, to me, listen, I've made this transparent for years. Succession War is my favorite arc in Hunter. It's my personal favorite arc in all of all time. It completely topples Chimera, and in your case, Yorknu is your favorite arc. And I believe either it was this chapter or just after this batch was done and you reflected on it, that you started to waver on whether Yorknu was even your number 1 anymore. Was it this or was it after?
Yeah. It was this chapter. No, it was the last batch in 397, and then at the end of this chapter, I remember thinking about, like, damn, Succession War might end up being my favorite, and that's specifically because I can't have Succession War without having Yorknu. Mm-hmm. I needed Yorknu to get the context of all the different events that are taking place in Succession War. So it's kind of like part 1 and part 2. You can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
Succession War is the payoff for everything that was set up in Yorknu.
Yeah.
And for that reason, like, depending on how things play out, this might end up being better than Yorknu.
Mm-hmm. And for me, it's already my favorite arc. But, like, that's the insanity of it. We're not even at the actual payoffs of the arc. We're almost close past the halfway point.
Guys,
we're getting a chapter that's of this level.
We're not at the palace invasion section yet.
And we have chapters. At the palace invasion section yet. And we have chapters that are this godlike, and they're nothing more than lore setup chapters, lore gashi chapters, with crazy, like, things being weaved together. And this is one of the greatest chapters in all of Succession War, and by extension, one of the best chapters in all of Hunter. And this is not even, like, this could easily be surpassed when we do actually get the setup, the payoffs.
This might be in my top 5 for me, and that's saying a lot, considering my top 5 has a lot of goated moments. No, because my top 1 is the Dark Hunter reveal. That's obvious.
340, right? Or 339.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, 339.
Yeah, the Dark Hunter reveal.
338, yeah.
This is up there for me, man. Like, it's pushing some moments. I have that one. I have the Poor Man's Rose moment up there.
Okay,
I have the Spider chapter with the 397 up there for me. Oh, bro. I have some of the most, like, the Gaido chapter.
204, 205. Yeah, 204, 205. Insane.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I have, like, my top 5 is filled with some of the most, like, god tier moments, and this is pushing. This is pushing. This is
up there.
It's trying to get to the. This is trying to get to the top 5 for me.
Like, it's insane.
It's trying to get to the top 5.
This is one of those chapters that only gets better the more you actually, like, think about it and sit with it, and, like, how it. This chapter in the context of the whole series that Togashi's written over a 20+ year long stretch, and how much this chapter matters because of how much the setup was there for it. And what's even crazier, and why, like, to me, Succession War is the best arc. It's been the best arc for years for me since 2018.
Okay. I need to say something. I know.
Go ahead.
I know Max is gonna be out here saying, "Oh yeah, Hisoka's gonna kill Corolla." And that. Nah, fuck that bullshit. He folded him previously. He's folding him again. I don't care what you say, Max. He's getting folded twice, 2 times in a row. He's getting folded,
bro.
I'm sorry. It is what it is, man. Colo's my top 1. He's top 1 for me.
Yeah.
The only other people on the same level are Dome Freaks and Gaido, and maybe beyond. But, like, my own personal bias, Colo's top 1.
Crollo said he could dog walk him. Listen.
Not if he steals the treasures. Not if he steals the treasures.
If Krollo steals the treasures, if Krollo can steal the treasures, it would finally give Seti a worthy challenge. Krollo's still the underdog in that match.
There's no way, bro. Don't even
listen. Hisoka's currently worried about fighting off the spider scrubs. You know, he's fighting off these plumbers and milkmen and tomato cans in the series. Meanwhile, like, Seti could dog walk them right now in under 2 weeks of training. A month of training, Seti could pull up to Hisoka and
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
A year of training, Seti's the strongest character.
If Krollo steals the treasures, this man gets the powers of whoever the first king of cockiness. And God knows what that man had.
Yeah. Because listen,
oh my God.
The fact that all these characters need to go through all these like different caveats to even gain this power. Meanwhile, my goat's just that guy off rip. Listen. Imagine if he used that powers. It's over.
Relax. There's no way he's on par with the first king. He's just not. He's not.
He could easily be surpassed. He could easily surpass the first king. We know Bubblicious grew up in an era of he dominated in the cupcake era. You know, during the bubble era.
Okay. you know damn well, it's not cupcake era. If it was cupcake, fine. But until we get that, you can't call it the cupcake era.
Yeah. The Mickey Mouse contest.
You don't know what Nasubi did to get the throne. Okay, you can't say it was an easy cupcake ass battle to assume the throne.
Bro, it's a cupcake era. The reason why I call it the Mickey Mouse contest is because there's no way he had Hulkenberg and Seti caliber level princes to deal with. There's no way. Seti's a one in there. Seti does not. You can't just fight someone like Seti every era.
He might have had. I'll say this: Serenage might be more talented, but there might be quite a lot of goated people in his era. We don't know. We don't know about how things happen there.
Man.
For all I know, I mean, I've speculated this a while. Hart, remember I told you, what if that whole thing is a lie? With the whole thing of Nasubi assumed the throne, and there are the succession war is a lineage thing that's been happening previously and stuff. Mm-hmm. But what if that's just propaganda or a lie?
What do you mean?
I'm not talking the events of the succession war. What if that was a lie? Not what the seed urn and everything does.
Of how he won in chat, when explained in chapter 390.
Yeah. What if that whole thing about the idea of there were previous succession war and every prince previously has done that so far. What if that whole thing is just propaganda?
I doubt it because
the thing is thing is nobody can prove it because Nasubi's king.
I doubt it because they were doing this whole thing since the era of the first king, and this was explained by an internal monologue by Nasubi in chapter 362. When he was talking about how during the Age of Warlords, the first king created the seed urn, and then he had his kids fight for unification, and that's how Kakin became a superpower.
I mean,
then he talks about in chapter 349, Nasubi himself, where he says that according to the ancient manuscripts, the first king created the seed urn, and then he also added that this could very well be a historically correct way of using the seed urn, aka the succession contests.
Oh no, I'm not talking about I'm pretty sure that.
No, I believe that the succession contests are legit, but we don't know how Nasubi won. Granted, Bubblicious, he may have legit been hiding and tucked under a bed like he's a Resident Evil character, or Oishi from Kill Bill when her parents got filleted by whoever that assassin was in the animation. Dude probably hid and tucked himself under the bed. This pudgy little kid, Bubblicious. Meanwhile, the other princes are slaughtering each other.
And then third party the last kill.
And then he crawled out. And then he crawled out of the bed. And he was like, "Oh shit, is the coast clear? Yo, I win, dog." And he becomes king. Yeah.
Nah, that probably didn't happen.
No, it's probably disrespectful. I don't think it happened like that, but my point is, I don't think that the caliber of the princes Bubblicious was up against or on the level that we have now. I just don't think so. But man, this chapter, man.
Now you calling Nasubi Bubblicious is crazy.
Yeah, bro.
That's crazy.
The cupcake era, like the cupcake era rings a bell, bro. It's like a nice agenda material.
Nah, that's
dude.
So I would say that right now.
Go ahead.
Tier 1, like, if there's one place I wouldn't want to be on Earth, it's on Tier 1, bro. I don't want to be anywhere near Tier 1 right now.
Bro. You have literally the craziest characters in the whole verse all gathered up in Tier 1. It's absurd.
Unless I have some level of skill that's anywhere close to, remotely close to Tier 1, I wouldn't want to be in Tier 1 at all. Tier 1 is... Yeah. Tier 1 is a death box.
Bro, all these characters meeting, potentially troop members dying, Nobunaga faint on or dispersing.
The prediction... Bro, I need the predictions to come true.
We have to. Shizuku's on her own. She's cooked.
I need the predictions so the spiders die. Yeah.
And now slowly these troop members are gathering up to Tier 1. We know that Shizuku dies in Tier 1. Either she gets killed by Seti, because her fortunes explicitly mentions the Slaughtered Eyes and treasures. And her being alone. Now she's alone. Yep, remember.
Scarlet Eye and treasures. Bro, yeah, she's gonna accidentally stumble in and find the treasures.
Yeah. The
cocking treasures, and die in the room with the cocking treasures.
Yeah. Or specifically in Seti's chamber, because remember, he has the last crop of the eye.
Yep. Bro.
Yep. Like, dude, this chapter is crazy. Because we need to learn more about the first king. We need to learn more about this cocking lore, and hopefully we do learn more. We also need to learn more about cocking, about Nasubi, and how he won, because
me and you speculated either Franklin or Bono, right, to die alongside
Bono and Shizuku are likely to die.
It's definitely Bono. It's definitely Bono.
Yeah,
it's definitely Bono. Bono's gonna die.
He's like likely the very next to die, and then Shizuku afterward because of the fortune. And the danger is getting crazier. And now, GU, Henrik, they're going to use their hideout in Tier 3 to go up to Tier 1 and march up there, wreak havoc, in the midst of martial law. Benjamin is slowly dying. Stuff with Hulkenberg, stuff with Seti. You have the stuff with Morena. Krollo's going up there. There's Hisoka chilling. Kurapika. Dude, we're not even... Listen. And then there's Camilla's own cast members, where... Sarahel is trying to kill Wobble by inflicting the Nen curse. And then there's still Silent Majority, which we have not seen ever since chapter 370.
Yep.
Oh, it's insane.
By the way, there's whatever the hell is happening with Beyond and whoever he's talking to.
Yeah, who he wants to speak to.
I still need to know.
Yeah. Bro, it's absurd.
That's still happening there, right? We still don't know what Ging and Person are doing alongside Beyond's like former members and stuff, and like what those guys are doing. Like, bro.
There's also the deal between Unma and Dwazel that is related to Hulkenberg and potentially Seti being a bastard child. And then there's also of course the Nen curses of Beyond's kids. You know, and then there's Seti who wants to fight, who's like, yo, once I get under a second of Zetsu, we'll spar Salkov.
There's also what's her name trying to find the child of Beyond to try and kill him.
Yeah, Longhi,
yeah.
Bro, there's like so much that's happening right now. Like, and people, listen, this is why I keep saying, and I'll keep saying this time and time again, Succession War is the best arc. Chimera Ant, as good as it is, does not have this level of sauce with its subplots. It's never had this level of excitement and insane writing and technical ability by Togashi. Just not close.
You know what? Chimera Ant wasn't a political arc. It wasn't.
It wasn't. That election was a political thriller. Yorkton was more of a crime noir thriller. You know, Chimera Ant was more of like a thematic story about humanity and all these thematics, and like it kind of had like more of a horror element to it.
It was like a philosophical thriller.
Yeah.
With like the dictatorship and morally ambiguous like conclusions of what's right, what's wrong.
Yeah. This arc is like more of like, it's got political thriller elements, crime noir thriller elements. It's
family relationships, bonds.
Yeah, the dynamics between kids and between fathers and their child, like it's insane. Like this arc has so much sauce.
I think the fundamental lesson for this arc is like the relationships or the theme of like the idea of like a bond with somebody, because mafia has like all mafia families have a sense of like relationship or bond with their members. Like the spiders have a relationship bond with their members. Like Grin. The tree of Kaki and his family, so they have their own bonds. Morena has her own bonds. So like relationship, bonds,
the troops bonds,
family.
Yeah. Hisoka.
That's the fundamental theme of this arc.
Hisoka and talking about like love in 405. There's also like the importance of these bonds and relationships between these princes and their mothers, these guards and beyond, and like, you know, Nasubi and his kids, and there's also the theme of power and corruption. Like it's all like about dictatorships, corruption.
This while Chimera Ant is more about philosophy in terms of like from a grand scale of like what it means to be human and what's morally right or wrong.
Yeah.
This more deals with this arc I feel is gonna hit different because Chimera Ant was on a was from a macro perspective, if I could say this, it's like from a wider perspective. But this arc feels more personal and closer to your heart. So I can see that when this arc wraps up, it's gonna hit twice as hard because it's on a more relatable level that's gonna hit people.
Like, dude, it's already had some of the most emotional moments in the series, and like it also has the themes of humanity because it carries over the ideas, except it doesn't explicitly say it with the narrator. It's something that you have to take in mind when you look at these characters and the actions of Kakin and how heinous these people can be for the pursuit of their goals, where they basically kick over the little guy and take advantage of disenfranchised human beings and treat them like trash and not even as human beings in general. That we got in the Phantom Troop backstory and what happened with Morena.
You know the dialogue where Netero's final moments where he's like, you know nothing about the infinite abyss of humanity's
the infinite malice of the human heart.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna be dealing with here.
Like, dude,
when it's revealed that somebody is like me and you think it's Seri, that's probably the child of beyond, right?
It has to be.
But
thematically it's him.
If it isn't Serenich and it's someone else, if it's Serenich, great. But if it isn't Serenich, whoever ends up being the child of beyond, they will have a direct tie-in to the statement. Plus, this arc as a whole is essentially recontextualizing and, if anything, going further into what Netero said in his final moments about how there's no limit to the infinite darkness of the human heart.
Yeah.
The infinite malice of the human heart. Because you can see already just how the people of Kakin are, or what the Kakin dynasty is like. These guys suck.
Yeah.
They're literally the worst.
This arc, setup level, character level, thematic level, religious symbolic level, this arc has everything. The makings of a masterpiece of an arc. And to me, it's already the best arc. And chapters like this prove it. And this is just a setup chapter in the grand scheme of things. Like, bro, I can only dream of what could even be the conclusion of Seti's character. Because he could easily have like a medium level conclusion. Just something so awe-inspiring and beautiful and like just generational storytelling.
So hard.
Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to say is, you know how we're gonna go to the station?
Yeah.
And then from there we're gonna head out to the
and then after that we'll get to the Dark Waters.
If this arc continues to the station point, which in all honesty could very well be the case, there's a potential moment for the treasures, the Purba, the Sword of Good Omens, in symbolically, well, the sword is based on, or at least I think the sword is based on the Purba.
Yeah.
And symbolically, the Purba is in symbolism. It is usually found in the mouth of a monster of the ocean.
Yeah. Man.
So there's a good chance that while we transition from the refueling station, refueling point to the dark waters, we might get to see some stuff. Like I'm excited for the dark water stuff. Like I probably won't get the dark continent, but like let me get to the dark waters. Let me see what's different there.
Like Grin, not only that, man. The next chapters, the next 10 that we're gonna get, because Togashi's already completed them. We just have to wait until we get them yet. Those 10 can easily surpass this 10 batch that we got here. Because of the payoffs.
Yeah,
because of the insanity that happened in between the time frame that we didn't get to see. That we saw slightly at the end of at 410.
They will. Every single chapter is gonna be hit. Like I said, guys, we're at 406. We have 4 more chapters to go. When we're done with those last 4 chapters from 407, 408, 49, and 410.
Yeah.
When we're done with that, bingo sheet video comes out.
Yeah. And we'll try.
Best at preparing your prediction. Think to the future. Be forward thinking, kind of like Krola or beyond.
Mm-hmm.
You know, figure out what predictions or what kind of things you guys want. Keep them in mind, and then once we're done with when we cover the 410 chapter 410, I want you guys to post in the comments your predictions, so that we can figure out which ones to take and what to add to our own bingo sheet.
Yeah. And I think we're done.
Yeah, I think on that note, like, subscribe, tell us what you guys thought of the chapter. Yeah, we will see you guys next week.
See you.
Next time for the chapter. Cool.